this video, we're talking about the tuition fees, the locations, we're talking about the admission requirements and what you need to do to help you get an admission. Hi, so welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dixon. This is Mr. Dixon Kana. So we're live here in Canada. I live in Canada. I've lived here for some time now. So I've taken upon myself to actually create content to guide, inform, and also tell you the things that you need to know, give you update about the latest happenings in Canada, those of you that are already in Canada, those of you that are back home in your different countries. This channel is dedicated to giving you updates and keeping you up to speed, giving you all the information that you need, and try to change your orientation about the myths or the things that you've had that might not be the truth. Let's go. So today, we're talking about some universities that are actually good to offer postgraduate studies in civil engineering. So if you're a graduate, wherever you are, whichever country you are, if you're a graduate, and then if you have a bachelor's degree, of course, if you actually have the intention of furthering your studies to do a postgraduate in civil engineering. These universities we're going to be talking about today are the universities that you should look into and see how you can actually apply to them. In this video, we're talking about the tuition fees, the locations, we're talking about the admission requirements and what you need to do to help you get an admission. Because the truth is, the right way, the best way and surest way to Japa, like this as it is through the study route. So if you can get an admission, you apply for your visa, there's every possibility that you can get your visa and then you can come to Canada. But then these few universities I'm going to be talking about today are the universities I advise out of my own research. Because of course I am not an admission agent, neither do I own a school. It's based on the research that I have made, based on all the questions I've asked of people that are actually students in the schools, and this, as the information I'm talking about today, is the University of Waterloo. This university is actually ranked globally as the 71 best university in offering civil engineering courses. So you can see it's actually a top-notch university. So first of all, we're going to talk about their admission periods. Like they have the fall, they have the winter, and then we have the spring. So for the winter is between January to April. So that's the winter admission sets. Then we have the spring within May to August, and then we have the fall within September to December. So those are the admission sets that the school has. Also, so for that, there's actually admission deadlines, so application deadlines. So when these are the times when you must make sure that your application has actually been submitted for a particular admission set, like whether it's for the fall, whether it's for the winter, or whether it's for the spring. So for the fall, the admission set is the application is supposed to be done on or before February 1st. So the application closes February 1st for September intake. September intake, that's for the fall intake. For the winter intake, the deadline is June of the previous year. Let's say you're applying, you want to start school by next year, January, then you have to be sure that this year, before June 1, you must have done your application. So the application closes for January intake from June 1. The next one is the May intake, which is the spring. So at the spring, you need to have submitted the applications at least before the 1st of October the previous year. So let's say your intention is to start school by next year, May. So you need to make sure that this year, before October, you must have done and completed and submitted your application. So these are the deadlines for the different admission sets. So it's important for you to know. So while you're preparing your documents, while you're running around to see how you can get the requirements ready, you should also, there's a time frame to get all of this done. So it's actually important to know that this school, they actually have, for the civil engineering, they actually have two patterns for this study. So they have the full-time, which is 16 months, and then they have the part-time, which is 32 months. So you have to multiply that by 2. So whichever one you choose is up to you. And you can see how much time you have to study each one. So the school fees ranges between $16,000 to $17,000 to $18,000 per academic session. Okay, so that's for the full time. So for the part-time, fees is between 8,000 Canadian dollars to about $9,000 per academic session. So that's what you need to know. They are based in Ontario, and then we've talked about the admission sets, the fall, the winter, and the spring. And then we've talked about the academic deadline, February 1st, June 1st, and October 1st, respectively. So that being said, the next university we'll be talking about is the University of Toronto. Yeah, by its name, you should know the university is located in Toronto, and the school fees ranges from 37,000 Canadian dollars to about 39 Canadian dollars. So that's the range. Actually share the same academic session with University of Waterloo. Their fall, their winter, their spring, almost it's just the same thing. February 1st deadline, June 1st deadline, and October 1st deadline. So that too is another good university you need to think about and look into. So the next university we'll be talking about today too is the University of Gulf. University of Gulf is another good university if you actually have intentions of doing civil engineering as a postgraduate study. Okay, so that's actually another good university. So the fees ranges from 25 Canadian dollars. Yeah, that's for full time. Part time is about 12,000 Canadian dollars. So it's important to note the discrepancy and the differences in tuition fees. The deadline is March 1st for the September intake, July 1st for the January intake, and then November 1st for the May intake. So this is just a little discrepancy. I think this buys a little bit of time, at least an extra month for you to get your application requirements ready. Yeah, so the next university we'll be talking about is the University of Manitoba. It's important to note that these tuition fees that I'm mentioning here are strictly for international students. So the University of Manitoba fee ranges between 12,000 Canadian dollars to 19,000 Canadian dollars. So by the time you start the application process, you begin to see the exact amount that you pay, because some of these courses, they have to pay individual registration fees for different courses. So that's why I'm not giving any exact amount. So it's between 12,000 Canadian dollars to 19,000 Canadian dollars for University of Manitoba. So if you have any intentions of going to school, that starting the school by September 15th or by September, then you should be sure that by January 15th, you must have submitted your application for September set. So for the winter, which is the January set, then you must make sure that you have submitted your application by May 1st. May 1st. You know, the other one we talked about June 1st, and then we talked about July 1st. So this is a little bit backward. So by May 1st, you should have submitted your applications. The next one is September 1st. Now the September 1st is the deadline for submission of applications for studies the following year. That is May the following year. So you need to have submitted the applications by at least on or before September 1st. The next university we're talking about is the university that is called the Memorial University. The Memorial University. So their school fees ranges from 12,000 Canadian dollars to 18,000 Canadian dollars. They also have the same admission set and admission deadlines as University of Waterloo and University of Toronto. So it's important for us to know these particular differences in their deadlines, because the deadline for one will not be the deadline for the other. And also, while you are doing this, you need to consider the school fees and other stuff that you need to put into consideration. We're going to talk about the sixth university, which is the University of Saskatchewan. They actually have two types of this civil engineering postgraduate study. So they have the one that's project based, and they have the one that is thesis based, and both of them have different tuition fee. So for the thesis based, the tuition fees is around 12,000 Canadian dollars to 14,000 Canadian dollars. So within that range, you can find the tuition fee. Actually, on the site, it is 12,231 Canadian dollars. But of course, there are some registrations that will be done there that might make the money to be more than that, and that's why I also always give an estimated range. I don't want to be very fixed on the amount. So it's between 12,000 Canadian dollars to 14,000 Canadian dollars. While for the project-based civil engineering postgraduate is 23,000 Canadian dollars. So you can see the difference. So it's a matter of making choice. You know what you want. If you just want to do the thesis and pay around 12,000, 13,000 Canadian dollars, or you want to do the project-based one, which I know most of you want to do because it's the civil engineering, and it's a project and practical-based course. So, and most of the people want to do the project-based course. So that on its own on the site is 23,000 Canadian dollars. So, however, like I always say, you need to just do a little bit plus or minus. So let's say within 23,000 Canadian dollars to 25,000 Canadian. Talking about the application requirements, all the things, the documents that you need to put in place before making an application. So while almost all the schools have the same application requirements, certain schools actually have added application requirements. So it is important for you to note, so that by the time you prepare your job, starting preparing your documents, getting all the requirements, then you need to know that there are some schools that need more than is actually required by other schools. Okay, so it's important. So with these 6 universities, we're actually going to talk about and break down all the things that they need for you to get in place before submitting your application. The first requirement we're talking about today is your academic resume. It's just called resume, but of course it has to be an academic resume. So you can actually include your academic resume and your professional resume. Now, depending on if you are already practicing as a civil engineer and you just want to upgrade. Because of course, some of you watching this video now are actually doing this civil engineering professionally. But looking back, your BSc, this might not be what you studied in school. And that's why I always advise, as you do your academic resume, you also do your professional resume so that you can put it alongside, so that they will know while you are applying that, okay, even though you didn't do this course in your post-secondary education, that's the university or your bachelor's degree, that you're already into this course and you want to, where you want to further your studies. So if civil engineering is what you did in your bachelor's degrees, then it's okay, you can just do your academic resume. But if you also have a professional resume, professional experience that you've done, maybe after school you started working with a civil engineering company or you started doing some civil engineering jobs, it is important for you to also create that resume and back it up with the academic resume. It's actually going to give you an upper hand. Okay, so that's for the first requirement. Your academic, your resume must be ready and you must make it to fit. So you can ask charts, do this, do that, do this, do that, to make sure that your resume is actually legit. Make sure you put the dates of graduation, everything that you need to put there. Make sure you don't leave any stone undone, because it is the resume that they're actually going to use to start to observe your documents and other stuff. So that being said, the next one we're going to talk about is the academic transcripts. The transcripts from your universities where you graduated from. So if it's more than one university, you need to provide the transcript of those schools, okay, to submit to the school that you're applying to. So most times the school, they actually have to call your school to send them transcript for that. So okay, so the transcript needs to be provided. And there's an important thing I want to actually add. I actually discovered this later on. Now, while in school, we had 4 years, some had 5 years courses to go and all of that. But it's important to note that in the transcript, like what I have discovered in the research that I've made concerning the schools that I just mentioned, actually take cognizance of your last 2 years in university, your times where they really want to see how you did, and they are expecting that you have 75% pass in that last 2 years of your university. So if you have younger ones who are going to university, maybe they are feeling bad that, okay, I've not done too well in my first or second or third year, it's important to tell them that, see, just remaining 2 years, you have to make it right. You just have to make it right. So the next requirement you'll be needing is your bachelor's degree certificate. So that's what you'll be needing. So alongside your academic or professional resume and your transcript, you'll also be needing your bachelor's degree certificates. So the next thing you'll be needing two references. So mostly preferred will be, one of them should be an academic reference, while the other one should be a professional reference, because of course this is a professional course and of course it's something that you have been doing for some time. So this is why two references, their contacts should be very much ready, because most times these schools make contact with them and to find out if they actually know you or give consent to your application. So the next requirement is the English proficiency requirement. So IELTS or equivalent. So when you go through the school sites, you can see, you just check for the acceptable English proficiency exams or certificates that you need to have for you to apply in their school. So now it is important to note that even in this English proficiency, there are actually exceptions. So in my research, I actually discovered that there are exceptions to applicants whose first language in their country is English. Other countries whose first language is not English, French or other languages, you need to take the English proficiency examination so that you can be certified before you start your application. It's also important to note that you need to get these exams done at least 2 months before the application deadline, that the school can actually have enough time to get it. Find the exam in your location, browse, go to the school website and find out the acceptable English proficiency certificates for them, because these schools have actually different certificates that they need. Find out the different certificates for English proficiency that they need, and then see how you can get your certificates ready before your application. You need to do that before your application so that you don't start losing or having any backlog or getting disappointed at the end of the day, because without that, and you're not from a country that speaks English as their first language, there is no way they're going to give you admission. These requirements I gave are generally crossing the 6 universities that we've just talked about. Now, aside this requirement that have been stated, that I said that all universities we just talked about are actually using these as their application requirements, there are actually some discrepancies or some added requirements you need for some different universities. And I'm actually going to talk about them and talk about them specifically by their universities. So the first university we're talking about is University of Manitoba. University of Manitoba. So aside having all the references, transcripts, English proficiency, and all of that, they have said that as a requirement, you must have an advisor, an academic advisor. And now this academic advisor must have a PhD and he must be a member of graduate studies. So on their site, there's actually a site where you can just click to get a list of all the academic advisors in the school. So you can choose one, contact the person, and let the person know that, okay, see, sir, I'm applying for this, and this is why they said I'm required to have an advisor. What do you think? Help me and advise me. Can I add your name as my advisor and all of that? So it actually makes it easier, because I feel having an advisor that is inside the school will actually make it easier for you to get the right information and updates about your admissions. So this is actually a requirement. It's actually a requirement by the University of Manitoba that you must have an advisor who is a PhD and also a member of their graduate studies. So it's very easy to find. You don't need to kind of start stressing yourself trying to make calls or that. There's actually a link to click on their website. Once you click on that link, it takes you straight to the list of the academic advisors that are available. So it's also the supervisor support. Yeah, so you just need a supervisor support, and that's what everything just means. You need a supervisor support. So that is what they need. So that's the extra requirements that University of Manitoba are requesting for. So aside all the requirements that we've talked about, University of Manitoba wants you to have an academic advisor who is already in the school. So the next university we're going to talk about is the University of Saskatchewan. So aside all the requirements, they actually have one discrepancy within them. Now, while other universities are requesting for 2 references, the University of Saskatchewan is requesting for 3 references. They're requesting for 3 references. So now that's the difference. So if you're applying for this university, you should know that instead of 2 references as regular schools do, this university actually needs 3 references. Now the 3 references is there are going to be 2 academic references and 1 professional reference. So 2 academic references and 1 professional reference. So it's important to note this additional requirement by these different schools: the University of Manitoba, where you need an advisor, and then University of Saskatchewan, where you need to make your references up to 3, 2 academic and 1 professional. So that's it for the application requirements. So there's actually an application fee. Of course, these applications are not done for free. So the application fee for all the universities ranges between $120 to $130. I think it is only University of Manitoba that has $130. The rest is either $120 or $125. So these are the application fee, and no matter how you apply, no matter how correct or authentic your documents are, without this application fee, nobody is going to attend to your application. So it's important to actually prepare ahead of time to know that, okay, you have to pay either $120, $125, or $130, as the case may be, for your application fee. And this is how your application is going to be attended to. Without the application fee, your application is not going to be attended to. So key facts: get your documents ready ahead of time. Okay, get through the schools, do your research. Okay, do your research, find out the requirements that they need, try to get them ready ahead of time before your application. Now this makes things a lot more easier for you, so that you don't just go rushing and start doing stuff hurriedly, making mistakes. In fact, that when you prepare ahead of time, everything just becomes easy. So you just get everything ready, your referees, talk to them, get their contact information, let them know this is what you want to do. Get in contact with your university, let them prepare your transcript if you don't have it handy, let them get it ready, get your resume, get everything that you need ready, and prepare yourself to pay the application fee. So, just like I said from the beginning of this video, I am not an admission agent, neither am I an admission consultant. The information I'm giving you is more like a bedrock of where you can start to actually start making your findings. I've helped you to get a couple of universities that are actually doing civil engineering very well in the postgraduate level. So it's up to you to actually do your research. You can do your research among the schools and know which is best for you so that you can make choice. And that's why I've actually made about 6 universities so that you can have a wide range of choices to make. So it's up to you to do that. Make choice and do that. Like I said from the beginning, the best way, like I used to say, the best way to get into Canada is through the study route. That's the best way. It's not the easiest, it's not the most difficult, but it is the best way. I can tell you that for free. It is the best way. So do whatever you can, do your research, and get ready to apply. Get ready to be in Canada. I'm looking forward to hearing that one of my subscribers is in Canada. That will be a very big thing of joy to me. So thank you for staying with me throughout this video. I hope it wasn't too lengthy. We just needed to pass the right information to you that can help you do better. So if you liked the video, if it was informative to you, you just click on the like button so that you can actually recommend them to other subscribers so that they too can be informed just as you have been informed. If you don't mind, you can actually subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell so that whenever I drop any video like this, you can also be notified and you can be the first to see that information. So thank you once again, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next video. On the next video, we actually hope to talk about something very different, but we talk about something that will be very informative to you that actually has plans of coming to Canada. This channel is a channel for you. So don't leave without clicking the subscription button. Thank you very much. God bless you. I love you all, and I wish you the best. And I know that one day, just as I'm in Canada, you too will find yourself in Canada. Thank you very much. See you soon.